Hello and welcome to our midweek devotion time. I'm Pastor Lauren Delano and I want to welcome you to Bologna United Methodist Church as we gather together for a time of announcements and a time of devotion to God and to share in discipleship and growth in our faith with one another. Today, our focus is going to be on Micah 6:8. It's a verse that will probably be familiar to many of you. And it's also the verse that's going to be on the back of our new church t-shirts that United Methodist Women are selling to go to support the missions and ministries that they support and that they carry out in our congregation and in the Methodist Church as a whole. So I want to share a little bit about that verse with you and to tell you a little bit about the ways it is important in our faith life as you make plans to buy t-shirts and long sleeve shirts and hoodies. And at the end of our devotion time, Donna Lewis, a member of the United Methodist Women, will share with us as well how you can get your own Bologna United Methodist shirt. Before we begin our devotion time, I do want to make note of something very important. Worship in the parking lot is moving from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This Sunday, October 4th, we'll be gathering in the parking lot for worship at 10 a.m. That is a change from what we have been doing. We are hoping that the weather will be a little warmer as it cools off in October and that the grass will dry a little bit more as we gather together. This Sunday, we'll be celebrating communion together, and I'll be sharing again in my sermon about what I've learned from listening sessions about not only who we are at Bologna United Methodist Church, but who God is calling us to become. I'm excited to share that with you. I also want you to know that we're going to change up the setup of parking lot worship a little bit. We're going to create space so that the first row of parking will be a place for people to come bring their chairs and blankets and sit down. So it's more like you're at an outdoor concert or worship experience. If you want to get out of your car and you want to be able to see other people in our congregation a little bit better, then that option is for you. When you pull into the parking lot, the parking attendants will ask you where you want to park. If you want to park in the back so you can walk up to the front with your chairs, or if you want to stay in your car, that is still an option. You'll be able to stay in your car and park on the second row like we have been doing. So we want to reiterate that parking lot worship is a great opportunity for everyone, no matter your comfort level. You're able to stay in your car and listen on your radio if you'd like to, but you can also get out of your car in your chairs and picnic blankets. We will still be socially distancing 6 feet apart at least, and we ask that people wear masks anytime that their window is rolled down or they step out of the car. The weather's getting pretty comfortable, so I hope you'll make plans to join us. You can start arriving at 9:30 a.m. and worship will start at 10 a.m. After worship ends, we will have a time for small groups. I'll be leading a Bible study on the book of Philippians found in the New Testament over the month of October, and our pre-K 4 through 12th graders will also be meeting for small groups at the same time. So parents, you can join in our adult small group while your children are in their small groups. I hope that you will enjoy this change and you will be excited about worship with us. As we delve into our devotional for today, I want to offer you this word from Micah chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. You are probably most familiar with Micah verse 8, but want to give you more context, and then I'll explain what's happening in Micah 6 as I begin my devotional comments. I invite you to hear these words, starting with verse 6. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with tens of thousands of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has told you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? When we enter into Micah chapter 6, we find that we're in a courtroom setting where God has a controversy with the people of Israel, and he intends to have a conversation with them. God is the injured plaintiff and Israel the defendant. The judges are the mountains and the hills and the foundations of the earth. And God comes to the Israelites saying, you have forgotten your story. You have fallen out of right relationship with me and consequently with one another. And in this passage, as we get to verse 6, Micah is serving as the narrator, critiquing the Israelites for their need to stick so closely to the religious practices of their time, thinking only of sacrifice and whether that is what God has asked them to do, saying, you're only going through the motions. God has asked you to live a life of faithfulness and righteousness, but instead you just want to do things that show your faith, even if it's not genuine, even if it's not what's really in your heart. You want to offer sacrifices to make God pleased, but God will only be pleased when you live your life in this way, when you do justice, when you love kindness, and when you choose to walk humbly with God. This is a challenging calling for us as people of faith. You'll see I have this image back here, this metal artwork that I was given as I left my time in seminary as a college chaplain at a college and came into pastoral ministry at my first church. This has been there to remind me that justice and kindness and walking humbly with God are life-giving, but also challenging. And that my calling all the time is to be in right relationship with God and with God's children who are created in God's image. We're reminded that so often we're like the Israelites who fall short and who just want to make our faith into a list of boxes we check off, rather than a way of life where we work harder and harder each day to faithfully follow God and love others. Recently, I was at a continuing education event where, of course, it was online. It was through Church of the Resurrection, the Leadership Institute that they do every year. And Bishop Michael Curry, who is presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, he's also a pastor, he was sharing a word with us as United Methodist, and Adam Hamilton, the pastor at Church of the Resurrection, asked him, Bishop Curry, what advice do you have for us in such a tumultuous time when there is division, when we are unsure of where to turn or who to trust or how to live out our faith? And Bishop Curry said, I'm learning to kneel and stand at the same time. I'm learning to kneel and stand at the same time. And I think that is a perfect statement about what this verse 8 is all about. That we kneel in front of God and in front of others, and that's our love kindness. We seek to be in right relationship with one another and with God, and we have to do that by loving God well and loving others well. And that requires faithfulness. That even when things are hard, even when we are being challenged in our faith or the world is challenging us, that we still have to honor one another and honor God. And then this idea of standing, that we stand up for what we believe in, and that's the do justice part. There are so many things happening in our world right now around racial injustice, around healthcare systems and COVID, around where God is calling us to be as people of faith in this challenging time, and we have to stand up for what we believe in. All the while, we do this while humbly walking with God. And that is the hard work that we're called to. As you reflect on this passage today, as you think about the ways God is calling you to seek justice, equality for all people, because all people are made in the image of God. As you reflect on the ways God is calling you to love kindness, to be in right relationship and faithfulness with God and with others. As you reflect on the ways God is asking you to walk alongside Him, I invite you to earnestly pray. To earnestly ask God, what is it you would have me do this day, this week, this month? And to trust that God will be with you as you turn your life over to God, not just checking off boxes, but saying, God, how can I live my life faithfully all the days of my life? Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, we trust that in the midst of chaos and questions in our world and in our own lives, you are with us. That your love remains steadfast and that you do not turn away from us. We also trust that this calling Micah has given not just to the Israelites but to us is one that you desire for our lives, to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with you, O God. And so I ask that we would place that as a mantle upon our shoulders, as a responsibility for us as people of faith, and that you might break open our hearts to do this work in ways that are pleasing to you, O God. Amen. Now I invite you to hear from Donna, one of our United Methodist Women, as she shares a little bit about how you can get a shirt that has Micah 6:8 on the back of it, that also supports the ministries of United Methodist Women and offers you a shirt representing our church.
Hi everyone, my name is Donna Lewis and I am a member of Bologna United Methodist Women, and I wanted to let you all know we have a fundraiser coming up. Normally we would have our annual rummage sale during the Bargains Galore, and that's where we raise our money for missions that we have committed to, but we can't do that this year, so we have come up with a few other things that we'll be doing this fall. But anyway, for right now we have a t-shirt coming up, and we are going to be taking orders for red short sleeve, long sleeve, and also hoodies. On the front of the shirts we'll have the United Methodist Church emblem. On the back of the church we'll have a verse, and it is act justly, love mercy, walk humbly, Micah 6:8. So the orders, let me show you this picture so you can have this. We will have that order form on Facebook, and also we'll be emailing it out to our church congregation. You can make payment by writing a check to Bologna United Methodist Women. You can pay by cash, and then also through PayPal, through the church PayPal account. There's a link for that, but if you will actually put in the notes, if you use PayPal, that it is for the t-shirts, so that it will keep that separate. We're going to be taking orders between now and October 11th. So if you could get your orders in, if you need an order form mailed to you because you don't have a printer, just let me know. Just give us a call here at the church at 501-796-2624, and we'll get you one in the mail. If you have any questions, give us a call, okay? All right, thank you.